Welcome back to the Fuji guys. My name is Francis. Today we are going to take a look at the new functions added to both of these bodies, the X-Pro2 and the X-T2, from the new firmware upgrade, the version 2 for the X-T2 and the version 3 for the X-Pro2. So if you want to know more about these features, keep on watching. So the first new feature is going to be when you shoot in bracketing mode, whether it be film simulation, ISO, exposure, any type of bracketings, you can shoot in RAW and retain the file. So you can shoot only in RAW or RAW plus JPEG, but you will still have your RAW. Let's say if you shoot for ISO bracketing and you have ISO 400, 800, and 1600, you still retain the RAW file for these. So what you have to do is simply just go into the bracketing, take a shot, and if we look, we have our 3 images, and if we look at the data, we have the RAW for each. Next up is going to be the added ISO of 125 and 160. So how you want to set that, you simply go into the menu and you go into your button and dial setting, and your ISO dial setting low, you can select it to 100, 125, 160, and you can still shoot RAW. So you can still have your file at ISO 125 or 160 or 100 in RAW. Before, you were limited to only 30 seconds of long exposure with the X-Pro2 and the X-T2. Now, if you put it to T, you can now go down to 15 minutes. Yeah. Now this feature was already available on the X-Pro2, but now we have added it to the X-T2, and it's to lock the in between the third step settings. You can lock them. So if you don't want to accidentally change your shutter speed by moving the dial, you can lock it, and I'm going to show you how to set that. So you simply go into the menu and your button and dial setting, shutter speed operation on or off. So if it's on and I'm at 1/60th now, I can change in between in third stop increments. If I go back, put it to off. Now I'm going to set it back because I can't change it. So in auto ISO, you can now put the minimum shutter speed in auto, and what that will do is actually take in consideration the lens you have in, and it will use the appropriate shutter speed, minimum shutter speed, to eliminate the camera shake when you take your picture. So to set that, you simply go into the menu, the shooting setting, auto ISO setting, and then you set your default sensitivity, the maximum sensitivity, and your minimum shutter speed. You now have the option to choose auto instead of whatever fixed shutter speed there was. You can now put auto, and like I said, it will choose accordingly. So an improvement from these firmwares is going to be the face detection autofocus. So basically what it is really improving the speed and the accuracy of it. So just to show you guys, in case you didn't know how to set up the face detection into the camera, simply go into the menu, AF and manual focus setting, and face and eye detection. There are all your options. You have face on, eye off, face on, eye auto, left or right eye priority, or simply off. Now also, Fujifilm improved the autofocus continuous autofocus. So it used to do a little bit of hunting to make sure it was always on. So that's fixed now. So when you autofocus in continuous, it will really lock on the subject and remove that sort of distracting thing that was sort of going back and forth just to make sure it was really in focus. The focus point size has been improved. Well, actually, we've added one more size similar to the GFX, a smaller size. So if we take a look here to single point, you can see before it used to be this big, that was the smallest you could get. Now we've added this small one to be really, really precise. So let's just go through all the size once. And then back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sizes of AF point. To activate or deactivate that, you simply go into the menu and then you go AF MF and AF point display, put it to on or off. So now you see all the little square into the zone, and if I disable it just to show you the difference, now you see they're gone. So they will still appear when shooting which square is selected, but when you activate it, you actually see them beforehand into your sort of zone area. In the AF MF setting, you have the AFC custom setting, and you now have the 5 different custom setting pre-made for you, like just like into the X-T2, but unlike the X-T2, you can't actually customize your own setting. You can now move the AF point while enlarging it. So if you want to, if you click on the button and you are, enlarging it, you can actually move it at the same time. While video recording, you can now refocus just by half pressing the shutter or the AF on button that you assign to it. So if you're not satisfied with the focus it's giving you, you can actually refocus while filming. So there's a new mode added to both of these cameras, and it's called Eye Sensor plus LCD Image Display. And what that does basically is that as long as you're shooting and you keep your eye to the viewfinder, it won't show you an image playback of the last image you took. Even though if you set it into your setting to be 1.5 seconds, it won't show you the image. It will only show you the last image you took when you actually look back at the camera. So if I show you, let me just shoot at something. Yeah, like this. So I take a few images, I'm still on the OVF, nothing changes, and then I look, and now I see the last image I took, just there. The X-Pro2 now benefits from the same shorter shutter lag time as the X-T2. The X-Pro2 and the X-T2 now are able to name the custom Q menu. So you can now give them names instead of C1 to C7. You can actually give it a name to your custom profile. So if you take a look at mine here, I have my C1 programmed to Classic Chrome +2+2, but I could have written anything else. So to set that up, you simply go into the menu, the image quality setting, on the page 3, edit save custom setting. So now you see all of them. So let's take a new one, the custom 4, Now I can customize it as I want. So -2, I can just put it to +4 if I want. And then I can custom name it. So let's say BCD for this one, set, and then I go back, custom setting for OK. There you go. So now if I go into my Q menu and I scroll to the C4, it's actually ABCD, the name that I gave it before. Another very neat feature added to both of these cameras is going to be the copyright into the EXIF data. So you can actually set your copyrights into the camera and it will save it directly into your file. So how do you want to do that? You just go into your menu, you go down to the setup, save data connection, and then you go to copyright info, enter author's info. So I can just put A, B, C, D, set it, and then the copyright, which would be the name of your company, for example. Let's say this. You set it, and then you can display them. So these information will translate to your actual images into the EXIF data. So the voice memo is a new feature added to both of these cameras, and it's quite useful if you want to, instead of writing down information, just add it to the picture. So what you do is, let's say I take a picture of this, I go into my playback, I press the menu OK button, the voice memo setting is on. So once it's on, you don't actually have to go back in there, but you activate it. So there it is. So if I go back to my image, I simply hold the front command dial for a few seconds and hold it the whole time I'm speaking, so it records what I'm saying, and then let it go when I'm done. So for this, let's just do it. Fuji guy video test image. Now I can play it back just by pressing the front command. Fuji guy video test image. So this voice memo is actually linked to this image. If I want to record something over and erase the other one, I just go again, hold it, erasing the last one. Play it. Erasing the last one. So the other one is gone. So something that's been asked for a long time, now the X-Pro2 and the X-T2 have now extended bracketing options for auto exposure. So show you, if I go in there and then I go to the AE bracketing setting, I can now go up to 9 frames and up to 3 stops. And as you go, you see on the scale the steps you have in between. Now, if I go back, I can choose between 1 frame or continuous. Continuous will take all the frames one after the other. The 1 frame will make me press the shutter each time. Then you can have the way it's going to record the images. So do you want to take the neutral, the plus, and the minus, or the minus, the plus, the minus, the normal, the plus? You can choose either way you want to go with this feature. So really expanded bracketing option, something that was well asked for a long time. Now it's there. Another simple feature added to both of these cameras is going to be the shoot without cards. So do you want to be able to take pictures even if there's no card in the camera, or do you want to be stopped so you're not shooting and actually realizing there's no cards? So to set that, just simply go into the setup, into the button and dial setting, and then right after shoot without lens, you have shoot without card. Do you want it on or off? So simply select the one you want. You can now go through the whole range of ISOs just by using the front command dial. Now, right now I have 27mm on, which doesn't have an aperture ring, so that will change a little bit. I will actually have to press it once to switch between the F number and the ISO. But if you would have a lens with an aperture ring, you would simply have to rotate it. So to activate this option of changing ISOs with the front command dial, you simply have to go into the menu and into the button and dial setting and ISO dial setting A, and then you choose between auto and command. Auto will do you auto ISO when you put it to the auto position, but if you put it to command and you put the dial into the auto position, it will now be into the command mode, and I can now switch between all the range of ISOs, and if I click, then I go to my f-stop. So now you can store your AF mode, size, and position in landscape and portrait mode. So the X-T2 will remember your last setting when you were in portrait mode, whether it was single point or zone or wide tracking, and when you put it to landscape, it will come back to whatever it was. So it could be on the portrait, it's going to be single point and you know, the smaller point, and if you turn back to landscape, it's going to be a larger square into a zone setting. So how to activate that, you actually go into the AF/MF menu, store AF orientation, and then you have focus area only, so it will only remember where the point was, and it will always stay the same size. Whether you turn it, it will be one size. If you put it to on, now the whole thing is activated. So I go into landscape and I choose a bigger size on the complete right side, and I put it to zone, but then I turn it into portrait, and you see now I am on single point. This is the size and the position of my focus point. But if I turn it, you see I'm in zone and this big. So basically it will remember all your setting, AF setting for the landscape mode apart from the portrait mode. So if I move it, it will change between the different settings I assigned it to. And if you just put it to focus area only, it will only remember the position of the point, but will keep the same size between the two. When you're shooting videos now, you won't be stuck only with the EVF or only with the LCD. You can now switch between the two without it affecting your actual video, so you won't see a flicker or anything when you're recording. So if I take a video now, let's just aim at the tripod and the camera filming me. So if I record and then I switch, there's no problem switching between the two. So now while filming and recording videos, you can now change the ISO while actually recording. So if I start a video, you can see I can change the ISO. Before, you would change it and nothing would happen. Now you can actually do it while recording your videos. You can now have a live histogram while shooting videos. Now it was already activated on my screen. You can see it down there, but I'm going to show you where to actually go and make it available for you when filming or taking photos. So simply go into the menu and then you go to screen setup, and then you go down to display custom settings, and you will see histogram right there. So once you activate it, then it's on. Even while recording, you can see it. So if I do something, you see it moving, it's live. The mic input also has been improved. You have now more choices of lower and higher for your actual mic input, so you have more control over your audio when doing filming with the X-T2. So you simply go into the movie settings, and you see mic adjustment. You have up to 20 to off or 1. So when using the dual display now, it always stays on. So when you half press the shutter, it doesn't go away. So let me just show you that. Now, I go like this, half press, and it's still there. Take a picture, it always stays on. And then lastly, you now have the GUI, the graphical user interface, that follows you as you go into the portrait mode. It will actually follow and display the information on the portrait orientation, just like that. And then you see it follows. So there you have it, a run through all the new options from this new firmware. Really transforms these two cameras and expand the possibilities and the power of these two. And if you should have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you would like to have more information on Fujifilm products, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and until the next time, I'm Francis for the Fuji Guys.